If there's anyone else out there, just give us a little thumbs up. It's really weird. It's really weird when you're on this because you're like, is there an empty room or are we with people? Yeah, clearly. Oh, there's one little hand gone up.
I think we have to go with if there's one hand.
Yeah, there's a few hands going up now. Cool. Okay, Happy New Year and welcome to our first event of 2024. My name's Lee Bestall and I'm currently the chair of Yorkshire and North East Region. Apologies, we started a bit late. We had a few issues with Teams. Microsoft and Apple didn't quite want to play. John's a Zoomer, so this on Teams just took a little bit of getting through. So the title of today's event is 7 Go-To Strategies for 2024. It's run by John Asquith of Action Coach. Thanks, John, for joining us again this year. You set us off in a strong position last year at the beginning of 2023 with your recession-proofing presentation, which everyone really enjoyed. The feedback was exceptional, so we decided to run something again. Question and answers wise, do you want to stack everything up and do it all at the end, or do you want to do questions and answers throughout?
I'm happy for if there's a good question that comes in which is relevant to the information that we'll be going through, by all means jump in and stop it.
Okay, great. And if you want to put those questions into the chat, we'll address those as and when they come up and stack them for the end if there's anything that's not relevant to that part. So without further ado, over to you, Mr. Asquith.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bestall. We're doing this today, are we? It's not Lee and John, it's Mr. Bestall, Mr. Asquith. I like it. It's nice. It's a good start to the week. Hello to everybody else. As Lee's said, my name is John Asquith. I'm a business growth specialist. I work with companies around Sheffield, Chesterfield, Worksop, Doncaster, Yorkshire and Nottinghamshire regions. I've worked with companies now for 18 years. Every time that I deliver one of these presentations, it's another year that gets added on. As Lee alluded to, I am a Zoom and Apple person. So everything I have is with Apple. And when you try and get Apple and Microsoft to play nicely with one another, sometimes they go, so after faffing around for about 8 minutes trying to get things to work, I decided that I was going to go old school. So behind me, you can see I've got a whiteboard. I'm going to be writing some things up. For those of you that are fairly visual in your learning, I do apologise. I promise you, you'll have a PowerPoint at the end of this presentation to go through with your notes. Just means that you might have to be a little bit more studious with the information that we're going through. So today is called 7 Strategies for Success in 2024. If I'm going to be brutally honest with you, this could be called 7 Strategies for Success in 2024, 2023, 2021, 2019, 1984. The good news is the blueprint has been set out for humanity for quite a long time. What I want to try and do is remind everybody of what those blueprints are. I'd like to go with a show of hands or in the question box to do with this sentence or statement. Can you see this okay, Lee?
Yep.
Right. How many of you on here may have started the year with a phrase like, New Year, New Me? That could have been a New Year's resolution. That might have been a commitment to yourself or your business and to your loved ones. In regards to, you're going to look at this year a little bit different and you're going to treat this year a little bit different. Anybody? We had a few people raise their hand at that point in time. That's good. That means that we might have a fairly youthful conversation today. What stats have suggested over the previous years is the younger you are, the more likely you are to set a New Year's resolution. So it said people between the ages of 18 and 35 are 5 times more likely to set a New Year's resolution than people 36 and above. Maybe that's the cynics in us, who can say. Now, for those of you that did say this, it is true for around 6% of us. Around 6% of us that commit to a New Year, New Me type slogan actually deliver upon that over the coming 12 months. The interesting statistic is this, that 79% of us decide that a new me isn't for me within the first 30 days. Isn't that interesting? So within the first 30 days, whatever that resolution was, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to diet, whatever that might be, I'm going to quit smoking or whatever other habit we're trying to drop. we decide that within the first 30 days, that's out of our possibility. The 7 strategies that I'm going to be talking about today are going to directly link to you making commitment to yourselves and your businesses and your customers, whatever that might be, so that when you say something, you can deliver on it. Every single time that you can deliver on it. Now, there's some good news and some bad news. The good news is it's foolproof. This works for everybody. Has got nothing to do with upbringing, whether you're lower class, middle class, or upper class, whether you're born in Britain or whether you're born somewhere else. These strategies are fundamental for every single human being. The downside is they're going to take a little bit of work. So first question, if I can get everybody typing in the question box. I do workshops, for those of you that have heard me talk before, because workshops generally have a larger impact on the audience than a presentation. So a presentation is me talking to you for 50 minutes. A workshop is me talking to you for a couple of minutes, you talking to me for a couple of minutes, and so on. So first question is, why do you think New Year's resolutions fail? Why do 94% of us not succeed over a year? Why do 79% of us quit in the first month? Why do you think that is? Lee, if you can get some answers and read them out for me, if you can be my glamorous assistant, that'd be wonderful.
That comes really easily to me. Inside in my bobble hat, it's freezing here. So first of all, we've got lack of motivation.
Yeah.
Someone's saying that they set too many.
Yeah, definitely an element of that.
Unrealistic expectations popped up a couple of times.
Yeah.
Potential fads.
Yeah, fads. Yeah.
The gut thing's going around at the moment, isn't it? Is that going to be a fad, or is it going to be one that sticks? Who knows?
Okay, good. So you're all right, by the way. There's definitely an element of all of these. The number one reason why we quit New Year's resolutions or don't deliver upon goals that we set ourselves to human beings is this. If we look at this as an annual thing, so this bottom axis is time, and up here we've got improvement. So the level of improvement over a period in time. Now what we want is improvement to do this. So on day one, let's say I decide, because I'm a little bit podgy after Christmas, after a little bit of self-indulgence, I go, I've got to lose a little bit of weight. So on the 1st of January, I say, right, it's salad day today. And I have a salad, let's say at lunchtime, and I say, I'm going to double salad today. I'm going to have 2 salads. I'm not going to have any carbs. And then I go on the weighing scales, and I'm half a pound heavier than when I first set out in the beginning of the morning. What I wanted was to lose a pound. I wanted to see some visual success for my efforts. The unfortunate thing is, results generally happen like that. So if we know that the curve for results when we decide to do something happens at a curve ratio like this, this point here is the issue. So between point A here and point B here, this is our problem. I define this as the valley of disappointment. Valley of disappointment, where I've committed to being a new version of myself. I'm doing all the right things. I'm getting up earlier. I'm reading. I'm being more zen. I'm taking care of the input into my body, but the output isn't slightly aligned with what I actually want to achieve. So this is the valley of disappointment. And this is why most people quit doing things really early on. So the first lesson of today is this. Change happens, but it takes time. With time needs patience. And it's about a continuous cycle to improvement. I always say that if you're looking at improving yourself or your business, it's down to 3 distinct things. I often describe it as business and life is simple as a P. The first is, that's P-E-A, as in a garden petit bois. First P stands for people. The people that you associate yourself with. So if I was to set myself on the trajectory of a diet, and people around me go, you don't need to diet, you're perfect the way that you are. How's that going to help my diet? Versus somebody like my wife that would turn around and go, fair point, Mr. Asquith. You've certainly had your fair amount of mince pies over the past few months, not the past couple of days. Okay, well, that sets me into gear. The second thing is the education that I take in. So the people that I associate myself with, the education that I take in. So the information that I'm now going to be taking in order for me to achieve my goals. The third thing, and most important, is the A part, which is the action that you take. Who do I associate myself with? What information am I taking in? Is this individual and this information enabling me to become something better than what I am today? And what am I doing with that information from those people? Am I taking the relevant action? Okay, so if you look at the action that I'm taking as being a multiplication part, 3 add 3 times 3, I'm multiplying my outputs. So it doesn't matter who you associate yourself with and what education you're taking, and if you take no action, the likelihood is you'll get no results. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes or yes? Good. Now, I'm going to talk to you about playing above the line now. So today I'm going to want you all for the next 39 minutes that we've got together to play above the line. You may have seen this if you've heard me talk before. This might be the first time that you talk about it. But today, for the next 39 minutes, we're going to play above the line. Now, playing above the line looks like this. This is a line, dotted line maybe, but it's a line nonetheless. And I always call this the line of choice. Big believer that in life, the fortunate thing that we're all born with is the ability to choose what I do. Now, below the line, I've got some choices, and I've also got some choices above the line. I can choose to blame others or things. I can choose to make excuses for the reason why things are the way that they are. Or, worst case scenario, I can be in denial mode in regards to where I am, right? So I can decide to blame others, make excuses, or deny that there's an issue or a problem happening. I can also, on the flip side, take ownership for who I am and what I've done. I can be accountable for everything in my life, in my business, and with my peers. And I can choose to be 100% responsible for my results in life. If I choose to play below the line, what I have is a series of reasons. I appreciate I'm not the best drawer in the world. I promise you there's going to be a beautiful PowerPoint that's going to be sent over to you to demonstrate this point. First question is this. Is it easier to play above or play below the line? Is it easy to say, well, I can't lose weight because, you know, there's 74 fast food outlets on my drive home from work. It's much easier. Can I make excuses to go, it's just too expensive to eat good these days. The supermarkets out there just constantly advertise sugary goodness to me. It's cheaper to buy a Kit Kat than it is a lettuce. There's a cost of living crisis going on. It'd be easy for me to live my life down here as a slightly overweight, chubby northerner right now. Now, is that going to give me any results? Could I make a decision to be accountable for my actions over the past couple of months by going, I've certainly overindulged. Drank more alcohol than what I normally would. Become au fait with a specific wine, which I really like, which goes well with cheese and crackers and a little bit of butter as well. And maybe I've just done a little bit too much of that. And maybe I decide to take ownership of where I'm at. And maybe I decide to be responsible for what I'm doing going forward. So my question is, if we know that it's easy to get results up here than it is down there, why as human beings do we fall down there too often? Answers in the question box. Why do we go down here and not up here? Well, we've got some answers, Lee. Shout out for me, please.
I will do. I can feel people typing away now. Well, I'm open.
Can't go any further forward unless we get an answer.
Just while people are typing, yeah. Why as humans do we find it easier to go below the line? Because it is, isn't it? It is like the easiest thing to do. Blame someone else. Do this. Do why as humans? What's going on up there?
You answered your own question. It's easy. The human brain is wired to the least path of resistance. So I'm going to go wherever there's less resistance. Is it easier for me to enjoy food full of salt and sugar? Yes, because it's a drug. I'm addicted to it. My body is addicted to that. So I'm going to go there. It's the path of least resistance. This is a lot of resistance here. It's hard work, it's effort, it's energy, it's attention. And my brain's going, yeah, but we need to need to conserve this energy just in case a lion comes to the cave at some point in time. You know, if you look at society and how much it's in, sort of how society's improved over just 250, 300 years, our brain matter, this is science, this is not just me talking about it, hasn't adapted at the same rate of change as the rest of the world. You know, at the base of all this, we're basically Neanderthals living in a cave, being scared of a tiger coming at us. So our brains are programmed to the path of least resistance. This is difficult stuff. And that's why most of us fail most of the time. The question today is about, do you want to be the 6% or the 94%? The fact that 6% succeeds suggests that everybody has the ability to do so. It's just a matter of choices. Do we get any other answers different to what you said?
We did. We said, Julie said we're more inclined to be negative as humans. I'm presuming. Tom's saying blame. Kim says it feels safe and easy.
Yes, it's so safe. The cheese is so safe.
And Steve's saying conditioning.
Absolutely.
Which I guess is a link to the people that you spend time with as well. That's kind of part of that, isn't it?
Go back to the people that do we choose? Again, we'll use per ratio here 80% of the time. Do we choose who we spend time with? Do we choose the information that we choose to digest? For instance, in June 2020, I made a conscious decision that I would never watch the news ever again. Ever. My wife said, well, how are you going to find out what's going on? I said, I'm pretty confident if something I need to know something, somebody will tell me. I don't need, and it was at the time where COVID was a big thing, and I became addicted, I don't know if it was anybody else, to the 5 o'clock bulletin where they said, this is how many people have died today. And I was like conditioned to go and watch this thing. And I'm thinking, it was just one day in the summer, and I was thinking, how is this helping me here? It was just, I was becoming a little bit fearful of everything. I'm thinking, what am I doing here? So I made a decision at that point in time. I was never going to watch the news ever again. My life has been so much brighter. I decided that information wasn't going to help me get where I wanted to go. So what we're talking about here is conditioning. So the first part I'm going to talk to you about, so the first one is about becoming proactive with your thoughts. Know that in order to get results, you have to focus on 3 key disciplines, which is becoming more accountable, not 100% more accountable, just a little bit more than you are right now. Being a little bit more responsible. Yeah. And then taking a little bit more ownership for where you're at. If you do those 3 things, you're going to get better results. The second thing I want you to start thinking about is beginning with the end in mind. So if you want a really good 2024, I want you to catapult yourself to the 31st of December and define what a great year would look like. Think about that from a personal and professional perspective. What have I accomplished in my personal life? What I've done with my teams within my business? What have I done with my business? What results have I achieved? Now, the number one reason why most plans fail is they're too big, right? Doing 12 months of hard work in itself is hard work. So what I want you to do is then break that down into manageable chunks. As Lee, you will know because you were with us on Friday, I get all my clients to meet up with us every 90 days, and we take those 12-month goals and break them into a 90-day plan. And that 90-day plan is broken up into 13 consecutive weeks to say, what am I, in order for me to achieve my objective for the 31st of December 2024, what do I have to do in the first quarter? What do I have to accomplish in the first month of the first quarter? What will I need to have accomplished in week 1 of month 1 of quarter 1 of 2024? And then what do I need to do today? So every week I've got a distinct plan. What's my outlook like this week, and what's my action today? So you can really break big goals down into small, manageable chunks. If I know where I'm going at the end of the year, if I know I want to lose weight, for instance, I'm not going to lose the 3 stone on day 1. But what I might do is to start by changing my habits. I'm going to not buy any Kit Kats because I know if there's a Kit Kat around, I'm going to sniffle it. It's going to happen. I'm going to hide it from the kids so it doesn't go in their lunchbox, and I'm going to eat it when I get home from work. If I don't buy the Kit Kat, I'm not going to consume it. Good habit. I know if I do that for 365 consecutive days, the outlook on my life at the end of the year is going to be far greater than having 366, I think, this year, Kit Kats. It's not going to help me. So begin with the end in mind, clearly define the objectives, and then work backwards and develop a plan to achieve them. It's the idea of creating a 12-month plan is ridiculous. And a great mentor of mine said this to me: never create a 12-month plan until you've gained the discipline to deliver on a weekly plan. So the moment that you can deliver on a weekly plan, do a monthly plan. And if you can execute a monthly plan, deliver a quarterly plan. And if you can execute a quarterly plan, let's go to annual planning. But today, let's just do a to-do list. A great discipline to get into is at the end of every single day, 5 o'clock, before you sign out, before you decide to go home, what have I got to achieve tomorrow? What do I want to achieve tomorrow? What are my must-achieves for tomorrow? Get a list of those and start really, really committing to daily planning, then get good at weekly, then get good at monthly, quarterly, and annually. All right, second one. This one that I go through with everybody that I work with because it's the fundamental for success. So B times do equals have. I want you to all write that down. So B, what I mean by that is who I am being, what I am thinking at any one time. So this is my behavior as an individual. Okay, how do I behave? How do I conduct myself? The second thing is do. So this is what I do, how I act. And the third one is have. In other words, what I receive, what I've gained. All right, so in a simple mathematical equation, who I am and what I do equates to what I get. Who I am and what I do equates to what I get. Now, I appreciate that people have bad news that happens to them throughout their life. We're not 100% in control of 100% of things, but most of the stuff, most of the time, we've got control over, right? So does everybody subscribe to that? If I've got any issues, let me know in the chat box to how I behave and how I act equates to what I receive at the end of it. Who I am, what I do equates to what I get. Does everybody agree with that? Yes or no? If you've got any no's, give me some reasoning behind it. That'd be great. Who I am, what I do equates to what I get. Don't normally have many arguments to that sentence or those sentences.
None at the moment.
Okay, then we've got none in. That means that we've got no burning desire to shoot me down in flames. So that's okay. Well, that means that we've got the right to continue. Now, if we believe that who I am and what I do equates to what I get, we're in agreement that you're exactly where you should be in your life based on what you've done and who you've been so far. Do we agree with that? You're exactly where you should be in your life right now based on who you've been and what you've done so far in your life. Like a little autobiography. I'm where I am because of what I've done and who I've been. Do we agree with that? That's normally the harder one to agree with. The first one is like, hey, I kind of agree with that. And then it's okay, so this is now directly correlating to you. We might have a couple of people go, oh, I'm not too sure about that.
Quite a few going up saying yes.
Okay, good. Now the
quite sobering.
Yeah, it is quite sobering. I'm going to pick you up, don't worry. We've got 26 minutes to pick you up. Now, the same is true for your path forward. Who I decide to be and what I decide to do will get me something. So if we define and decide what that something is, I can decide who I need to be and what I need to do in order to achieve that. Now, this is really important. I want everybody to participate in the chat box here. What's most important? The be, who I am, or the do, what I do? What's the most important? It's not a trick question. There is an actual answer. It's not, they're both as important as each other. What's the most important? Is it my behavior or my action? Thank you, Chris. The B.
Yeah, first one coming up. Yeah, most people saying B.
Yeah, okay, so B is the right answer. The question is why? Why is B more important than do? Because surely if I do stuff, I'll get results. Why is the B most important? See if anybody can get that one. Why is B more important? We got the answer, which is the behavior part. Why is it the most important though?
I feel like I want to type. No, I don't need to. Because that determines the do.
It determines the do. There you go. Perfect. We got it.
Be a doer. Ooh, John has frozen. I'm not sure if I have, if everybody has, or if that's me that's frozen.
Good in the chat box, and that'll give me the thumbs up to continue. I think Lee might have an internet issue.
No,
which is okay. I'll have to be my own assistant for
the
time being.
Okay, fine.
Somebody in the chat box will tell me that everything's okay, and I'll continue.
You have frozen on mine, but I can hear your voice. Kim and a few people saying can see Lee, hear John. Yeah, so I think it's you that's frozen, your picture, but we can still hear you. Yeah, you're back now.
Okay, I didn't know whether it was me or whether it was you.
No, I couldn't tell. We're all good.
Behavior forms what you can do. Okay, so who I am and what I do equates to what I get, right? So if I want to do more, if I want to get better results, I have to become something different. So I am conscious, by the way, that somebody in the chat box, Lee, said they can see you and they can hear me, which would suggest.
Well, I gave the verbal, so I think I'm seen and heard. Yeah, right, no, we're all good now. Yeah.
You can see both. Okay, if you can see both, that's okay. All right. Thanks, so let's focus on that B part. So your B element, what most people see, I'll give you life like this. This is an iceberg. I know I'm very good at drawing. This is an iceberg. This is the surface of the water. What most people see are your results in life. Your results are the things that are above sea level. Everybody can see your results. They can see what house you drive, or house you've got, what car you drive, what clothes you wear, your results that you have for a supposed successful life in this interesting century of ours. And that is a direct outcome of your actions, your behavior. So how you behave, people see. People see your actions. They also see your decisions, right? So decisions, actions, behavior, and your results are all above the surface. What's below the surface is this. Your skills, or your perceived skill set, your beliefs, or what you believe your skill set to be, your values as an individual, which ultimately form your identity. All this shapes these things. So the answer isn't always just do more. I have to become something that I'm not right now. That could be, I need to become more skillful in what I do. I have to have more belief in myself and what I do as an individual. I can raise my prices by 15% and the world will not fall down in front of me because I have better values of who I am, because my identity as an individual is shifting. That is formed by one thing and one thing alone. If I've got an iceberg and I move that into a different body of water, what happens to the iceberg? What happens to that iceberg? If I take that iceberg and I move it into a new body of water, what happens to the iceberg? In the chat box, anyone? For the benefit of Speedly, I'm going to give you the answer.
Changes.
It changes. It will either shrink or it will grow. The iceberg will shrink and it'll have more water, or the iceberg will grow and I'll have more ice. So all these things are formed by your environment. In other words, the people I associate myself with, the education that I take in, forms who I am as an individual, which then people see my actions, my behavior, my decisions, and my results. This all starts with me or you. It all starts with me. If I work on me, everything else is easier. And the final bit on this. If you want to have better results, because that's what we all want, better results, more results, however you want to define them, this is the path to get them. What comes before results? Actions. I have to act better to get better results. True or true? I'm just talking to you, Nelly. True?
True.
Okay, good. In order to have better actions, I need to make better decisions. Because my decisions prompt my actions, which prompt my results, right? In order to make better decisions, I must ask better questions. Because my questions, or the quality of my questions, determine the quality of my decisions. In order to ask better questions, I better have better beliefs or dreams. How can I make $1 million versus how can I survive, right? Question based on my dreams that I have. In order to have better or bigger beliefs and dreams, I've got to focus on my knowledge and education. And in order to get better knowledge or education, who's my teacher? Who's my teacher? So teacher, knowledge, beliefs, questions, decisions, actions, results. Whatever results you want, always come down to, if I want to grow a £50 million business, who should I look at as a teacher? Maybe somebody that's built a £50 million business. They can give me the knowledge, so I can set my beliefs, ask the right questions, make the right decisions, and so on. Does that make sense to everybody? Hope so. The next lesson is put first things first. First things first. First things first. There are 4 types of tasks that we can be doing in our life. And I'm talking about how to have a great 2024, by the way. So these tasks that you're thinking about right now should be directly correlating in order to achieve your goals, right? Because there's all loads of stuff that we can do in our life. But we've got things that are not important and also not urgent. Would we agree that there are things that we do in our lives that aren't important or urgent? We've also got things that are urgent but not important. Those are different types of tasks that we've got as well, right? So we've got not urgent, not important. We've got urgent and not important as well. We've also got urgent and important. And then we've got not urgent but important. I always break these 4 kinds of tasks down to, if I'm focused on my time on things that aren't urgent and not important, I'm currently living my life in delusion. I'm kind of deluded here. I'm doing things that aren't important or they're not urgent. I've got things that are urgent but not important, right? So they're urgent, but they're not important. At this point in time, I'm in distraction zone. I feel that I'm distracted. If I'm in the urgent and important, I feel like I'm in demand. The ideal set of circumstances, we want to be focused in this one here, which is, this isn't an urgent task because I haven't allowed it to become urgent. I'm acting on it now, not in 3 months' time when it becomes urgent. But it's important in order for me to achieve my goals. So what are those tasks for you? I'm a big believer in chunking time. Like putting an hour aside every single day to focus on building on actions in order to achieve your goals. 1 hour every single day for 220 working days, minus another 20 for a couple of weeks off. 200 days, you'll have the best year on record that you've ever had, just by committing an hour a day. For those of you that are interested in really looking into this into a little bit more detail, I'd suggest that you go onto YouTube and you type in Stephen Covey, Rocks, Pebbles, Sand. Stephen Covey, Rocks, Pebbles, Sand. There's a 12-minute video of the Jedi Master when it comes to focusing on the important things, talking about the 3 different things that we have going on in our life. We've got rock tasks, we've got pebble tasks, and we've got sand tasks. The rocks are the most important. It might be spending time with loved ones or doing our hobbies. And then you've got the pebbles, which are maybe the demands of your business. Then you've got the sand, which is everything else that happens in our life. What most of us do most of the time is focus our efforts on the sand, and we don't have any time left for pebbles and rocks. It's a really interesting way to look at it. So I want you to start thinking about putting first things first. What's the important thing that I've got to commit to today in order to have the best possible chance of me achieving my goals? Put first things first, focus on not urgent but important objectives. The next one is this one. Think win, win. I have a saying which is win-win or no deal. In order for me to have a successful relationship with anybody, you have to win and I have to win. If you're winning and I'm losing, no deal. If I'm winning and you're losing, no deal. My focus has to be building mutually beneficial relationships with people. Building mutually beneficial relationships with people. So there's 4 types of things that I want you to think about here. All right, so we've got lose-lose situations. Right, we've got lose-win situations. We've got win-lose, and then we've got win-win. Now, generally, these situations are built upon 2 different things. So we have the level of respect that I have for myself and the level of respect that I have for other people. And so many times I meet people that have more respect for other people than they do for themselves. It's a common trait with human beings. But let's say I have a low level of self-respect and I have a low level of respect for others. This is a lose-lose situation. This is also known as sabotage. I'm not firm with individuals, but I'm also not polite with individuals. So I don't have a level of being firm with individuals, but I'm also not polite with individuals. I've got low consideration for others, and I've got low courageousness for my own needs. That's a lose-lose situation. The lose-win situation is where I'm extremely passive as an individual. I have low respect for myself, but I have high respect for other people. And you might find yourself in that box some of the time. I'm polite, but I'm not firm with individuals. I've got low courageousness for my own self needs, but I've got high consideration for others and their needs. Okay, so that is lose-win. I lose, others win. You've then got win-lose. So I've got a high level of self-respect, but I've got a low level of respect for other people. That's aggressiveness. I'm firm, but I'm not polite. It's the opposite way around, right? I've got a high consideration for my self needs, but I've got a low consideration for others. What we want is this: create a win-win or no deal policy. This is the box called assertiveness. I'm firm and I'm polite. So I'm firm with a smile. I've got high courage for my own needs. I take the risks and I make the decisions in order to help me achieve my goals. But I also want to see other people win alongside of me. I have a high consideration for others. So I want you to start thinking win-win or no deal. And the best way to think of win-win or no deal is this. I don't think we touched on this, the last one that I did, but there are 4 types of characters that you're going to come across during your life, right? It's called DISC analysis. 4 types of people that you're going to come across in any walk of life. Now, this is about behavior. This is not about personality, right? So it's really interesting that we split these things up. So these are eyes. If we look at these in regards to axis, we've got outgoing traits. And obviously the opposite to outgoing is reserved. And then we have people that are people focused. And we've got people that are task focused. Now, there are only 4 types of people out there, 4 behavioral styles that we have. You have somebody that's outgoing and task focused, somebody that's outgoing and people focused, somebody that's people focused but reserved, and somebody that's task focused and reserved as well. D stands for dominant, so these are dominant characters. These are influencers, so influential individuals. These are stable characters, and these are compliant characters. Now, do these all see the world through the same set of rose-tinted glasses? Or do they all see 4 completely different worlds? 4 completely different worlds. Now, if we have these 2 people working together, there's somebody that wants to dominate the world and somebody that just wants to make sure everybody's okay, do you think from time to time there may be some conflict? Now, they might want the same result, they just go about it in different ways. My job, if I'm this individual, is to work out how these individuals behave so I can work and create a win-win situation at all times. Now, if you master these 4 different behavioral styles, you'll become a champion of communication. You'll be able to communicate with anybody. Simple way to look at it, and I've put this on the PowerPoint link, which can go out to everybody after. A dominant individual is very driven, they're determined, they're a doer. In some cases, they're dramatic, they're demanding, they're decisive, they're dynamic. Funnily enough, all words beginning with D. Your influential individual are inspirational, they're impressive, they're interesting, they're impressionable, they leave a long-lasting impact on you. They're inducive, they're interactive, they're interesting, they're interested as well. Your stable individual are supportive, they're stable, they're sensitive, they're submissive, they're sentimental, they're shy, and in most cases, they're a specialist. And your compliant individual down here is someone that's cautious, calculating, careful, compliant, concerned. They're very contemplative, they need facts and figures and information. Now, if you master these 4 different people, if you know who, first and foremost, who I am, let's say I'm an S, I know I'm going to have my biggest issues dealing with this person. So I need to be able to communicate with that person a lot better. And the only way that I can do that is by seeking first to understand before I'm understood. If I master who that individual is, I can make sure that we can have a positive relationship. And I can make sure we can push that going further forward. The final lesson today is to sharpen the saw. Sharpen the saw. The final strategy that we're going to be talking about today to have an effective 2024 is to sharpen your saw. In other words, continuously work on self-development, maintain a good physical, emotional, mental and spiritual well-being. Do those 4 things, you'll lead an enriched life in 2024. So one of the best pieces of advice that I ever received from anybody, I went to see a highly successful entrepreneur and I asked the question, if there was one piece of advice that you could give for a successful business and life, what piece of advice would it be? And he said these words: read a book a month for the rest of your life and you'll never have to worry about money again. Read a book a month for the rest of your life and you'll never worry about money again. That goes right back to that beginning slide. People you associate with, give me the right education. Taking the right education on board and then making the right action. And to this day, I've read a book a month, every single month, and up until this point in my life. I also journal every single day about my experiences. So they're the 7 things that I want to talk to you about today. So let's just prioritize them in order. Number 1, become a proactive individual. Become proactive. Really play above the line. Second one, begin with the end in mind. Know where I want to go, work backwards to make sure that I'm focused on the right things every single day. Number 3, put first things first. Number 4, think win-win. Number 5, synergize. Number 6, sharpen the saw. Make sure that I am educating myself continuously. And what was the last one? Which was think win-win. So we've got 5 minutes left. Appreciate we started 8 minutes later than we wanted to. I'm going to make sure that I get the slide deck over to everybody as well. But if we do have any questions, we've got 5 minutes to go through those.
Okay, so if you've got any questions, do you want to pop those in the chat? Just while we're waiting for people to put the questions in, thanks for your event on Friday. It was really amazing. But one thing I really took from that event was there was a guy speaking who was incredible, and he talked about things that we have to do and things that we get to do, or things that we've got to do and things that we get to do.
Yeah.
And you can overwhelm yourself with a got to do list. And I'd got on New Year's Day, we wrote down a list of all sorts of things that we'd got to do in the house, got to do at work. And then on Friday, I changed the wording on that. It's a shared note between me and Paula, and I changed that to what we get to do. And that was such a small mind shift, one tiny word, but it made me think, oh yeah, instead of having to do that, we get to do that. And he used an example of, instead of having to go and clean his mum's house when she was ill, he was able to do it.
Get to do this, yeah.
He'd get to do it, yeah. So that was a really nice takeaway really from Friday. I can't see anything in the question and answers section, but it is just whirring round.
That's fine.
There's not anything in there, and there's nothing in the chat.
Good.
Either.
Well, I'll end with this. Your life and business doesn't get better by chance. It gets better by change. And the more that you change, the more chances you get. Luck doesn't just stumble upon us. You do make your own. So if you make sure that you focus on the change that you want to be, everything else becomes much easier for you. So I wish everybody a fantastic 2024, and hopefully I'll speak to you all at some point of it.
Cool, thank you so much, John. Just before you all disappear, don't forget to support your own committee by going to your AGM. Our AGM in Yorkshire and North East is on the February the 22nd, on the Thursday. So you can book your place on the Barley website, as I'm sure you can with all of the AGMs. But I just want to say thank you for joining us this morning. I hope you have a fantastic year, and I'm sure I'll see you at an event really soon. Take care.